Assalamu alaikum, everyone. Very good morning. And my name is Dr. Arif Pyarali, Director Training Solution Learning Minds. And I welcome you all to this amazing series of Gear Up. Today is our first episode, and my God, I have a very experienced and with amazing exposure. The panelists over here, I was just reading their summary of their job experience, and it just blew me away. Today's topic is managing job security towards a better future. I know this topic is perhaps a pain point to a lot of employers and a lot of employees, especially in this pandemic. So I would request that you kindly share your thoughts, your comments. You can ask questions from the panelists. And without further ado, let me introduce you all to our first panelist of this Gear Up series, episode 1, Managing Job Security. And she is perhaps, I have known her for a long time. She has been one of my clients, and I can tell one thing, before introducing, I can tell one thing: she is all about merit. And she used to be in British American Tobacco, Engro, GSK, PPL. She has a huge, vast experience of being a professional. Currently, she is the country head HR Syngenta. Please welcome our first panelist, Ms. Humaira Ahmed.
Thank you for having me, Arif. Assalamu alaikum, everyone. I'm very happy to be here.
Wa alaikum assalam, and I am so glad and so thankful that you are here with us. Okay, and now introducing our second panelist, and बज़ाहिर मेरी कभी इनसे इतनी बात नहीं हुई जितना पिछले कुछ दिनों में हुई है, but I can tell you one thing, that is he is a gem of a person and very down to earth, very humble, but again massive experience and massive exposure. He used to be in PTCL, Shell, Alberta, HPC Group UAE, Tata Pakistan, and right now he is Director HRBP K Electric. Welcome, Mr. Adil Riaz. Sir. Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum assalam warahmatullah. Kya hal hai? How are you? Thank you very much for inviting.
Alhamdulillah. Thank you for giving out time, and I am sure we are going to have a very worthy discussion on a very crucial topic, and that is managing job security. People who have joined in, people who are listening to us, please share your comments, your ideas. If you have any suggestions, any advices, and especially your questions are welcome for this forum, and I will make sure that I ask all of the questions, if not most of the questions, if not all of the questions from you to our panelists, and they are kind enough to answer them. Okay, so let's just dive into this topic, managing job security and towards a better future, because people right now really need some optimism. So my first question would be from Adil. Adil, we are all told that we are heading towards a new normal. That's the new term. So how different is this new normal for you?
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Thank you, Arif. As you just said, that this is also the first experience of yours running this webcast or a live show. So this is also our very first experience, maybe in decades, maybe in the centuries, that the way of working has been changed. The new normal is also a new terminology. People have actually used this terminology post-war scenarios, post-battle scenarios, post-pandemic scenarios, and now this new normal situation, and the word and jargon has been used again. There would be a lot of challenges, and as we all know that the world would not be the same moving forward. It is a challenging situation. So it's a blessing in disguise. We need to be very sure and cognizant about the fact that our way of working, our lifestyles, professional and personal lives have drastically changed. So the world would not be the same again. There could be the positivities towards this and the negativities towards that as well. If asking me, it's my opinion, and I might be wrong. It has nothing to do with your organization, my organization, and with any other organization. But working from home is something which has actually come up in this situation. Although few good multinational organizations, few local organizations, certain roles are on working from home, but now we are compelled to actually think about that moving forward. The existing roles who are on ground can also be labeled as a working from home eventually, which will eventually saving up some cost, minimizing the pollution, cars on the streets, which I can see from my window, yet impacting on the profit and loss of the organization, minimizing the cost of the real estate, more efficiencies. What I've actually seen in my current job, that the productivity, the efficiency has actually gone up in terms of the collaboration, because now we don't wait for people to meet. We just have to log in, dial in wherever we're sitting. Yes, on the roles on the ground are suffering. Actually, the sales are suffering, the marketing strategies are suffering, the brandings are suffering. But overall impact, I think, is favorable, and a discipline towards managing your calendar, accepting the calendar invites, either declining, either accepting, or maybe tentative towards that, is something which we need to actually focus on in terms of the technology. Technological companies have actually leveraged. They are on their toes. They have rolled up their sleeves in terms of selling their products. So this is something very new coming up. My efficiencies, particularly if I talk about Adil Riaz, I think has gone up. My colleagues would be listening and then they must be laughing now. So, but yes, it has make an impact out of it. If we would have actually, one more thing which we need to be very sure and careful about is the business continuity plans and stuff. We haven't worked on, most of the organizations haven't worked on the business continuity processes and the plans, which they are now very serious about it. If we would have actually identified our threats, working towards those threats is not only the pandemic situations, COVID-19, it could be the disasters in terms of your earthquakes, it could be your landslides, or maybe the sillabs and stuff. So we now have to go back to our policies, processes, reviewing that, mull over it, that either we're on the right track or not. We need to review our job descriptions, job roles, rationalizing the organizations for more productivities and stuff. So this is a 360. We were still deliberating on the moving forward. So the life would be towards the multitasking now. The roles will be towards working from home. The roles would be some loose job descriptions rather than the tight job descriptions. So this is my point of view. Arif, over to you.
Brilliantly articulated. Humaira, if I come to you and if I ask the same question, what's your take on the new normal?
I'm so sorry, Humaira. I must have actually covered most of the point. It would be difficult for the always for the second speaker to actually bring in the point. Sorry, Humaira.
Monday morning, a heavy question and a speaker like Adil before me. So yeah, aapne jaga to diya, definitely, right? Okay. So I'll try to reword what he said, okay, slightly cleverly. Okay. So, a new normal is definitely something we need to look forward to. Sociologists all over the world are saying that what we are going through is what is called a black swan event. These are events which are very rare. They impact the surroundings severely. But at the same time, these are events that we could not have predicted or planned for. So business continuity plans hamare the, and yes, they were kicked off. And in many ways, they worked. But there were so many things that we couldn't have planned for because we didn't really expect a pandemic, and a pandemic of this nature, and pandemic that was happening globally, to be for all of us to be impacted by this. So if you keep that context in mind, we are definitely in what is called जो आपके management terminologies में नहीं VUCA world के concepts होते हैं. So the situation is volatile, uncertain, आपकी complexity is high, because every day, as I said, you're dealing with real people with real issues that you did not expect you would have to handle. Keeping that in view, we are going to go to a new normal. What is that new normal going to be? We are in the midst of that situation right now. What we can see is that yes, there will be people, as Adil said, working from home will be something that we will be talking about. But on a more personal level, I think what will happen is that a lot of spending will reduce. Travel will reduce, business travel will reduce. So you will see a lot of reappropriation of budgets in organizations. You will have consumers spending on, and consumers is you and me, Adil, and Arif and Adil. So basically, we will be a lot more conscious of what we're spending on. The necessary items the essential items will take priority. We will be saving a lot more, because now we feel, इस तरह की uncertain situation अब हो सकती है तो बाद में भी हो सकती है, right? Not only that, we will question where the product we are buying from is coming. Yeah, uski source, uski supply chain, so there's a lot of thought process that will go behind our purchasing patterns. So the new normal will be, it will impact lifestyles a lot more. And yes, work from home will become a reality. Work from home के pluses और minuses हैं, मुझे लगता है. And Adil said that he's experienced that efficiency levels are high, and yes, we're experiencing that in some areas, but everybody handles it differently, I feel. And here the diversity of individual comes in. So our experience shows that people get really excited by work from home. They love it, but it's like a roller coaster. It goes, there are highs and there are lows, and when there are lows, there is some sort of despair and add that to the lockdown, the current situation we're going through. So yeah, I think there's a social angle which is missing. One of the new normal things would be, will education be something that we do in schools? There'll be a lot of online learning, aapke tuition centers ke existence, and so on and so forth. So and cost saving in terms of that, yeah, because you're not having the fuel being used. आपने भी note किया होगा, आदिल, आपकी organization में भी fuel consumption has become nil or minimal in areas where people are working from home. So there are savings, there are new ways of working, there are patterns affecting lifestyle, and I think with possibility of work from home, which is something even organizations are now thinking more clearly. What are the impact on individuals' health? That's mental health as well as physical health. So I think in the new normal, there are new questions. There are new opportunities, but there are new questions. Wow. For sure.
Wow, wonderful. Yes, I think so. You have mentioned every possible point there is about the new normal. I was reading Tom Peters that day, and he said that you are not working from home, you are at home trying to work, and the and the success yardsticks would change dramatically in this pandemic, and we are all seeing that happening. Another author, Rory Sunderland, I was reading about what he has to say about the pandemic, and he shared a very interesting, and he quoted this terminology that was known as moonshot disruption. Moonshot disruption is not one by one a disruption of any matter in terms of technology or in the terms of we work, multiply by 100. So moonshot disruption is the new terminology for all of us working from home. Okay, so now moving on to our next question. As I said, that this is episode 1, and we are still, as Adil said, that we are still learning about how we need to go about this entire event and this panel discussion. I have a question which might disrupt the patterns right now we have, but it's a very pertaining question to the SMEs right now. And Sohail Zandani has asked this question. So who wants to go first on this question? Sohail is saying that talking about SMEs, small medium enterprises, not the ones that are SME for tech saving purpose, but are genuinely SME, how sane it is for them to retain people in a situation where the entire business model has collapsed. Who will take the first dip on that?
सुहेल का सवाल है तो मैं ले लूं अगर इजाजत है तो.
Please go ahead.
Yes, definitely.
So Sohail has habit of asking difficult questions. So research की होगी पूरी रात Sohail ने, and you must have actually brought in this question. So see, see, any business model has to be viable to run, right? And if I run a grocery shop, I have to make sure that I am profitable, and if I'm not profitable, then I need to let go of people. Retention of the people will only depend. So maybe it's I can rephrase this question. Maybe is that in terms of retention, or maybe the people are facing threats in the job security in the market. So I will also link to that as well. That because it will happen, it happens actually. So those people will only survive who are with the high capacity, who can do multitasking, who are marketable, and who have basically skills and ability to be more entrepreneur. I do understand this fact that this coming from an HR professional, that this has to happen, this will happen, and we have to rationalize our workforce. So nobody will actually run business operations without the profitability. So this has to happen, and that's what I can only say. So maybe Humaira can also touch upon that.
So I think Adil, you said it right. Just to add to that, I think the different qualities that you mentioned, I think उसमें एक बस मैं add करना चाहूँगी, the ability to change, the learning agility of the individual matters. So if people have employees which are fixed in a box and they can do X and they can only do X, and they cannot become Y because their personality or their learning agility is not high enough, then yes, you may want to rethink their position in the organization. But before that, my request would be, and my ask would be, that the companies, the real SMEs, actually realize and chalk down what is the new business model, right? So letting go of people before you've decided the new business model and saying, देखिए मुझे नहीं पता 3 महीने बाद क्या होगा, so we should just release people. No, actually, perhaps wait it through. The government has been very kind and has actually given incentives and has to organizations to retain employees. So and there is a regulation. I believe there's an order that you cannot even let go of employees. So keeping that in view, I think until you have the new model identified, and then you see which person is the type of person who can move from the square to the circle. And can learn. So I think it would be wise, because in SMEs typically there's people come from backgrounds where they have their needs are perhaps are just being met by their jobs, but at the same time the needs are real, are very real, and we need to give them a chance to see whether they can move from, as I said, one role to another, whether they can pick it up. And honestly, Arif, there are so many opportunities for people to learn these days. You don't necessarily have to invest a lot of money in upskilling yourself right now. So yeah, depends on the individual.
Depends on the individual, the situation, and the business we are in. And the topic you told, upskilling, our last episode is on the topic reskilling yourself. So that's on the lines of agility and adaptability. Okay, so coming on to the next question, and I would like Humaira to go first on this. Humaira, there is a lot of job insecurity in the market. Yeah. Yeah, we can count on our fingertips. There are few organizations who are very committed towards their employees, and we all know them. But there is a huge pool of employers or organizations who are letting people go. So there is a lot of job insecurity in terms of employees. Employees are very uncomfortable right now. So what employers can do to ease things down a bit? Yes, Humera.
So I think somewhat of what we were talking about a bit earlier. I think Steve Brown, who used to be a futurist at Intel Corporation and then now runs an organization, Possibilities and Purpose, I believe, helps organizations set up their goals and missions for the next few years. He said that this is a time, the COVID-19 situation, it's almost like the big pause. Yeah. So the organizations should use this to reflect and understand what is happening around them. So हम इतना life में और अपनी organizational targets में रट में भाग रहे होते हैं, दौड़ रहे होते हैं, right? तो उसमें this can be used to understand how what is going on, what we're doing, what is the real purpose behind this, but can we do things differently? So coming back to the job insecurity part, I think the employers need to understand how differently they can do things and how they can use their employees in the best possible way in this time. So there are various ways of ensuring that the sense of insecurity gets minimized in the organization. You can communicate and further communicate, and then you can engage. And you can engage by keeping them busy, not just engage through different initiatives and ye karte raho or ye exercise or ye competition. Great ideas, by the way. They really, really involve the employees, bring them together, but at the same time, keep them engaged through the purpose of their work. So at Syngenta, for example, we have a mission to ensure food security for the world, right? So in Pakistan, we are very, very lucky that we are one of the essential services. I think it took perhaps 1 week of, within the first week of the coronavirus pandemic starting in Pakistan or impacting Pakistan, we had clarity from the government that our business must be open and must continue in all areas of farmer support and farmer को product हमारी पहुंचनी चाहिए. Now, in those situations, just making sure that your employees know that the organization cares for your safety, but organization also is not going to compromise on or change the business direction all of a sudden. It helps. I think employees need that stability right now of the habits. सुबह उठ के काम पे जाना है और काम जो काम को डिफरेंट तरीके से कर सकते हैं, मगर काम पे जाना है, तैयार होना है, काम पे जाना है, and so on and so forth. By the way, a lot of organizations are working like even outside, and everybody's not working from home right now. I need to thank, honestly, I need to thank our own sales field. 80% of our organization is out there working in safety gear, in using safety precautions and so on. Why? Because we need to ensure food security. Keeping with that, I think people engagement, keeping employees busy, giving them the objective, the goals, connecting with them again and again, I think that gives them a purpose. And purpose right now eliminates or minimizes the feelings, the negative feelings inside. Job insecurity is, what is it? Is it really? It's really a fear that's inside employees. So I think employers can do a lot: communicate, engage, give a purpose and direction. I've seen it work at Syngenta. Mashallah.
Mashallah. Very well articulated. Adil, if I ask you the same questions, what an employer can do to ease down this tension of job insecurity in employees, what would be your thoughts on that?
If an employer wants to retain people, so I second Humera in terms of engagement, in terms of giving them more tasks and opportunities to work in organization, more rotation. But I have a different point of view in terms of the retention, in terms of job security. If the business is not viable, It's not the pandemic situation now. Just for an example, hypothetically speaking, it's if you think that it's not in this situation, if it's some sort of a recession, oil price recession, a recession which we witnessed back in 2008 and 2009, global recession. So what will happen? Employees eventually will end up in losing their jobs. So we all should be very much ready in terms of option B, option C, and option D maybe. This happens maybe after 5 years, after 10 years, after 20 years, after 50 years, or whatever. The situation, the ground realities are to be changed. The business dynamics are to be changed. They will change eventually. So as I said earlier, that your skills, your entrepreneur skills, your capacity, you're taking on new roles, your multitasking skills should be at a level that you become a person who is very much required for the organization, for the system, for the business. So the two parts of it. So this will happen eventually. This will going to happen, if not now. So we all have to be ready about that.
I think a fair point. Adil, if I can just add something to that, I think yes, you have to be ready. And if you have time, if you're saving on commute time, I suggest people go out there and upskill, or as you said, reskill themselves. There is so much opportunity for people to live and learn. I mean, right from kids to adults. My own kids, they're learning German language on an app. I know my friends, they're learning Python, again, apps. And I am proud to say that a senior leadership team globally in Syngenta admitted that they were doing courses on Coursera. So I think learning doesn't stop. There's no age for it. So use this opportunity to upskill, reskill, gain that confidence. It also gives you that confidence that you can, make it in different environments, and you can. It gives you a multidimensional tool set.
Or perhaps learn Chinese language.
Not a bad idea.
Yeah.
Darn, Adil, I need to change that German to Chinese.
Yeah.
So, share both of our panelists on this viewpoint of yours. Okay, so just to add to this conversation, the viewers who are listening, I am talking to a lot of people nowadays, and I'm engaging with them, talking to them, and from different companies. And I'm sure Humaira or Adil ko ye baat pata hogi that people are doing virtual internships. They have started this virtual internships concept, and they have started virtual iftari for engaging their team members. And so it's a very pretty new, pretty interesting. Jab main pehli baar suna to even I was like virtual internships. And then they have that entire model of how they engage the new people joining in, and how they engage. I'm sure they have the simulated or a background to that. But things are changing. The moonshot concept is here. Okay, so now I have a question from the audience, and question. Let's see. Who wants to take this? And I'm leaving it up to you. Annie Fatma is asking, what do you advise to bosses who just wants to push hard and get their work done, despite the fact that not everyone is mentally okay to perform like before in this pandemic? Before you move and answer this, just to tell you and to the audience, there is a new term for this pandemic, and for the people who are going through this. It is called collective trauma. And we are all going through this. It's called collective trauma. So yes, who wants to go on this question first?
Adil, may I take this?
Please.
Yeah. So I think, the interesting thing, Anne, is that what I find within organizations is that in a crisis like this, and research, also has reached the same conclusion. The role of leaders has become really, really important in a crisis like this. And by the way, this is called the rally effect, I believe. Yeah. And a lot of people say that this works out in election years. And what happens is, जब elections होने वाले होते हैं तो कोई president और prime minister LOC पे या war शुरू कर देते हैं, and rally effect ये होता है कि पूरी कौम उनके पीछे आ जाती है. So in any crisis, people look up to the leaders. So I think, honestly speaking, I would want the HRs and the top leaders of the organizations to highlight and stress to the leaders that this is the time to demonstrate, not just be caring, but to demonstrate that caring attitude. And you do that by, we were telling someone, and I think we did a session for our managers, that, you must call all your team members every day. If you're not able to talk to them via Zoom, call them every day. And अगर आपको उनकी आवाज में भी थोड़ी सी मध्यमनस लगे, आपको लगे कि उनकी आवाज थोड़ी सी डाउन है, तो then ask a bit more, talk a bit more, but ask for a video call. Don't just let it be. So my point is that my advice to those bosses would be, this is not the time to push. This is the time to understand. This is the time to perhaps try a different approach. Everybody's not the same in your team. So one person may work in a certain way, the other person may work in another way. So थोड़ा सा bosses के लिए भी ज्यादा काम है, because मैं अगर आपके साथ काम कर रही थी और मुझे पता था ये तरीका है काम करने का, that तरीका is also out of the window now, right? Because everybody's going through through that roller coaster that I was mentioning. So bosses need to realize that it's a different environment, and it is not to say that you cannot push your employees. It's just you have to understand what they're going through and when you can push. Right? Because काम करवाना है, काम होना है, मगर काम कराने का तरीका थोड़ा सा different होगा.
So yeah, I agree, Umaira. इसमें थोड़ा सा वो आपका emotional EQ element भी अब आ जाएगा, and we need to realize the fact that your boss is also a human being. He is also going through the same situation, same tragic situation, same critical situation. He needs to go through a counseling session as well, or he needs to go through a counseling session as well. And यहाँ पर वो बंदा कामयाब होगा जिसके nerves बहुत मजबूत हैं. Again, फिर जब हम बात करते हैं कि the profile consists of various elements. When we recruit a person, we recruit based on certain defined elements, which are the way you collaborate, number one, the way you demonstrate on the job, the way you take risk, the way you take pain, the way you handle the crisis situation or the conflict situation, and how far you can go into the organization in terms of your capacity. जब आपकी sourcing philosophy में recruitment ठीक तरीके से हुई होगी, so then you must have a force in your organization which can fight, which can, and I'm sure everybody cannot do that, and that's a process of learning. Maybe comparing somebody who has 15 to 20 years of experience versus 2 years of experience, it's very difficult. So give a benefit of doubt to the person working with you, and it's basically, in this entire situation, you need to talk. You need to speak to your colleagues, and it's a learning for me as well after this question, that maybe whatever task I have assigned my people, I need to be slow down in terms of assigning them hard tasks and stuff. Nevertheless, if we start doing that, we will not succeed in terms of achieving our goals. So काम तो करना है आपने, सिचुएशन से निकलना है आपने, पानी आ गया, बारिश आ गई, सैलाब हो गया, ज़लज़ले आ गए, करना तो है, घर तो नहीं बैठ सकते. So जब आप पे कबूतर पे बिल्ली अटैक करती है, तो अगर कबूतर आंखें बंद कर ले, that doesn't mean कि बिल्ली उस पे अटैक नहीं करेगी, बिल्ली उस पे अटैक करेगी. So अब वो कबूतर बनना है आपने या आपने बिल्ली बनना है. So it's you to decide.
Wow. Okay. So I think so we are going pretty good. I think so. Yeah, I know that we are doing pretty good. People who have just joined in, I would request that the topic is managing job security towards a better future. So kindly ask as many questions as you can. It's so there. I have another question, and I would request that Adil should go on. Bazahir, and this is on individual capacity because organization हमारी याद है ये फोन पे भी बात हो रही थी that हमारी organization कैसे इसका relation थोड़ा सा कम होगा but Tahir Hussain is asking that for people who have been asked to let go, are you planning matlab, in your individual capacity, if you can answer that, planning anything to help your staff as a CSR exercise like CV workshops, interview skill coaching, LinkedIn advice, etc. So what do you suggest that the people who are letting their employees go, what should they do?
जी, again, as I was expected, Tahir bhai का भी सवाल मुश्किल होगा. See, in an ideal situation, organizations have been doing this in past in terms of the retrenchment. When it is a planned retrenchment, it's a planned termination or maybe letting go of people. So I think that's good organizations. Normally they do that in terms of train them in terms of how do they appear in front of an interviewer, in terms of interviewing skills, making the CVs, how to talk, where to go, where not to go. I think that's the good CSR, and that's the brilliant suggestion which all organizations should do it. My advice to the organizations who are planning to do that as a good fit to the people, as to the community, because see, आपको ये बात का realize करना पड़ेगा इस वक्त in the situation जब आप किसी को organization से निकाल रहे होंगे, especially your blue collar workforce, your frontliners, maybe in the production area, ये जो लोग जिस तबके से ताल्लुक़ रखते हैं, आपने बड़ा केयरफुल होना पड़ेगा कि अगर इनको नौकरी नहीं मिलती है तो वो स्ट्रीट्स पे जाके क्या करेंगे. आपका क्राइम बढ़ेगा, आपका लॉ एंड ऑर्डर का इशू होगा. सो आपको उनको एक प्रोसेस से गुजरना पड़ेगा. सो एक जो लेबर जिसकी 16,200 रुपये या 17,000 रुपये मिनिमम वेज की या 18,000 के मिनिमम वेज के पॉइंट ऑफ उसकी सैलरी होगी, प्रोडक्शन यूनिट से बाहर आ चुका हुआ है, उसके पास ही और शी डज नॉट हैव अनदर ऑप्शन ऑफ एक्चुअली पिकिंग अप समथिंग and asking money on the streets by force. So इसको आपको बहुत careful होना पड़ेगा. It's not this city, it's maybe around the world as well. This may law and order would be a great challenge. So I think there has to be a process of letting go people from your organization in a very honorable way, in a very professional way. So ताहिर हुसैन का सवाल बड़ा ज़बरदस्त सवाल है और हमें इस चीज़ का को मद्देनज़र रखना पड़ेगा ऑर्गेनाइजेशन में. Thank you, Tahir. Excellent question.
I brilliantly explained as well, Adil. And Tahir, just to add on what Adil said, हमारे पास इसकी एक example मिलती है पाकिस्तान में भी. Kareem let go their employees. I think so it was 31% of their total workforce, and because Kareem is one of my clients, I got to know that they have created an entire database of CVs who the people who were let go. अच्छा, अब वो पूरा database जो है, so anyone who is an employer who is there to hire people up, so they can just send their email address and their data, like in terms of their names and their organization, and then Kareem sends the entire CV list, the bundle of list जो आपके particular subject या department से relevant है, जो उन्होंने recently let go किए हैं. So I think so that's a brilliant step towards, जैसे आदिल ने कहा कि we need to be more responsible of how we are retrenching, the planned retrenchment की जो बात की है. I think so Kareem is one example we have right now on a larger scale, if we can say.
See,
Okay.
I'm sorry to just add here. This is the mindset of an entrepreneur, the way they operate. ये ऑर्गेनाइजेशन का माइंडसेट होता है, वो अपने लोगों को जिस तरीके से ट्रीट कर रहा होता है उसी तरीके से उसको वो निकालता है. As I always said that there has to be an honorable exit. So branded organization कैसे बनती हैं? Because brand is just not your logo. It's basically your people, services, culture, your policies and procedures in the organization, the way you treat. So I don't want to name an organization, but एक मल्टीनेशनल ऑर्गेनाइजेशन ने जब अपना एक यूनिट को बंद किया, बड़ी पुरानी बात है, तो उसने अपने लोगों के साथ भी यही किया, वर्कशॉप्स अरेंज कराई उनको, they made sure that they should land up in somewhere else in the organization, in any good organization. They provided them all the necessary tools and equipments to appear for a round of discussion in the market. अब इस फैक्टर को प्लीज जो सुन रहा होगा उसको बिल्कुल आप मद्देनजर रखें एक लॉ एंड ऑर्डर सिचुएशन. दिस इज अ डिफरेंट सिचुएशन. ये एक प्रोडक्शन एक यूनिट डाउन नहीं हुआ, ये सब डाउन हो गया. हर जगह मसला हुआ, हर जगह क्राइसिस सिचुएशन आई हुई है. करीम, आई रिसीव्ड एन ईमेल फ्रॉम करीम एज वेल. प्रोफाइल्स मैं देख रहा था, बट मुझे अगर नहीं चाहिए होंगे बंदे तो मैं क्या करूंगा, मतलब किसी को भी नहीं चाहिए बंदे. So we all as an HR professional, as an industry need to come up, sit down maybe again to come up कि हम करें क्या आगे. करीम 2 महीने बाद अगर गाड़ियां फिर खुल जाती हैं तो ये लोग फिर वापस आ जाएंगे, आई एम श्योर. इसका बिजनेस मॉडल इस तरह का है. बट जो प्रोडक्शन लॉसेस हो रहे हैं उसका क्या होगा, जो एक्सपोर्ट्स होंगे उसका क्या होगा, एयरलाइंस एविएशन इंडस्ट्री में क्या होगा. So I think this is a separate round of discussion and I don't want to deviate from the topic. Thank you.
No, that's perfectly fine, and thank you. Very, very genuine and to the point. So जिसको हम कहते हैं the optimistic approach. So no flowery talks, the real talk. That is the name of the game. Okay, so I have another question for you, and so the question is, what's the positive side of this story? How you see things getting better in the post-COVID world? So we have talked about the new normal. We have talked about what employers can do. So what is the positive side of the story for you as an individual or as a professional? How do you see things getting better? Yes.
Who are you directing that question to?
The first person who has.
Okay, so okay.
I touched upon few things in my opening statement, so maybe I will repeat that for those people who have joined. So Umaira, आप पहले बात कर लें, फिर then I'll go on with that.
So thank you, Adil. So my feel is, what are the positive side? The positive side, abhi Adil ne yahi kaha, that the positive side is that we're not going through this crisis alone. We are, for the first time globally, we're in something completely together. I mean, this is not FIFA World Cup joining us. This is a tragedy across the world, a pandemic that is actually got all of us in something together. So the world is hurting. We're all hurting together. We might be at different phases of it, but we are all facing the same issue. So there is more empathy globally, right? People understand what you're going through. You don't have to explain this. This disease or this virus doesn't differentiate between people, doesn't differentiate between castes and races or nationalities. We're all in this together. So this is an equalizing factor, so to speak. The opportunities are, yes, I mean, there is more empathy globally and from different countries, but at the same time, there needs to be more empathy on ground. So one of the opportunities one of the behaviors to reflect from global to local should be that more empathy, more caringness. An opportunity is, in business terms, in March, for example, if you just look at in Italy, the online sales of businesses increased by 81%. Italy was going through a very, very bad time at that time. And, different countries will go through it at different times. So there's business opportunities there. These opportunities are more targeted towards online businesses, but these opportunities exist. Businesses are finding faster and cheaper ways to work, whether that's working from home, whether that is reduction in fuel, whether that's travel costs. Companies, key multinationals may, and I think other organizations may, travel costs have become nil, right? So the more budgets, more new ways of spending money on value-adding stuff if they're reappropriated properly. In 2017, McKinsey said that to 2020 tak, 400 million jobs change honge. Yeah, change honge because of technology. That is going to accelerate hugely, right? So there is a lot of scope for people who are working in technology or are interested in it or can equip themselves with it. All will not change in the new normal, right? So the people will still want to go to restaurants, people will still want to go to doctors, people will still want to go and shop personally. So not everything's going to go online. Current businesses will stay, but there will be, as I said, a larger pool created for online businesses. What other opportunities exist? We honestly, as human beings, we can show, and we're learning to show a more caring attitude to individuals without having to be physically there. So there is an opportunity for organizations to demonstrate that care, use budgets more wisely. There is an opportunity to rethink rather than tweak business models. There's a lot that we can do. I think it is, if we look at it right, it is a world of opportunities amongst every challenge that we're facing.
Yes, and just to add on to the points which and the very insightful. I'm really I'm taking notes, but I'm taking notes of what you are saying, because it's really insightful of what both of you are speaking right now. Just to add one more positive side, and then we'll move on to Adil. Just want I suppose. And I see that there would be lean structure in departments. ये जो हमने hierarchies बना ली थी, in the post-COVID world, there would be lean structures in organization. And in addition to that, मुझे थोड़ा सा ना confusion होना शुरू हुई है, because we all were seeing the news, the global news, and how things are different and things are bad and good and all of that. अब मैं एग्जांपल देता हूँ, मैं कहाँ कंफ्यूज्ड हुआ हूँ और कहाँ मैं देख रहा हूँ. So it's a positive side, but it is perplexing for me. For example, Sri Lanka, Singapore, Italy, they are opening their international borders for tourism from June 3rd, and Bangkok is opening their tourism from July 1st. We were thinking that जब तक vaccination नहीं आती, there would be no international travel, but they are proving us wrong altogether. So the changes which are happening, again, the moonshot disruption which is happening, it's perplexing in this environment right now. Okay, so coming on to Adil. Adil, what's your positive side of the story? How you see things getting better in the post-COVID world?
Spot on, जी. आपने बड़ी अच्छी बात की about the vaccination. So maybe the game changer for this would be a vaccination. If you know, and I've read somewhere that Pakistan will also be developing this vaccination. One of the vendors from Pakistan. So let's see कि things would be going in the right direction. But जब तक वो vaccination आती है, test होती है, चलती है, लोगों पे लगती है, उसका result आता है, trials and errors की situation आती है, तब तक तो हमें कुछ पता नहीं है. लेकिन in the meantime, we will end up in developing our habits. See, as I said in my opening statement, that our personal and professional lives will permanently be altered by this pandemic situation. So कोई भी आप हैबिट जो है 1 महीना 2 महीना 3 महीना चला लेते हैं, तो वो आप हैबिट एक्ट कर लेते हैं, वो कन्वर्ट हो जाती है, आपकी हैबिट्स में कन्वर्ट हो जाती है. सो वो अगर हैबिट आपकी डेवलप हो जाती है, सो मे बी वर्किंग फ्रॉम होम, and working from home does not mean that you work till 10 o'clock in the night or 11 o'clock at night. So there is always a blessing in disguise, because people have started work, they keep on working till 11 in the night, thus creating a trouble in the organization. So eventually you will be kicked out of your houses as well by your spouses. So
it's happening already.
मैं इसलिए दफ्तर आके बैठ गया हूँ. तो जो है घर की बातें बाहर नहीं बतानी चाहिए खैर. So
नहीं, ये हम वीडियो रिकॉर्डिंग YouTube पे नहीं डालेंगे.
हाँ, पता नहीं, अब तो बोल दिया मैंने. So ये एक वर्क लाइफ बैलेंस के इशू जो हैं वो भी नजर आए हैं लोगों में, हमारे पास और दूसरी ऑर्गेनाइजेशन. पीपल आर टॉकिंग अबाउट दैट we are on a conference call till maybe 11 o'clock, 2 o'clock, and they think that this is a very positive sign. No, it's not, because You have to give time to your family and other people as well. As I said, that things would not be the same. Isme se positivity, leveraging on technology is one thing. Those initiatives you were actually planning to take in the past, such as working from home, such as altering your job descriptions, such as working on a loose job description rather than the tight job descriptions, reevaluating your policies and process in the organizations, तो आप उन पे सोचना स्टार्ट कर दिया है और आपने कर भी दिया हुआ है, especially as I said, the business continuity processes. So business continuity process में I have seen few BCPs, उसमें बीमारी का जिक्र ही नहीं है कहीं पर. हर में बारिश का जिक्र है, तबाही का जिक्र है, ज़लज़ले का जिक्र है, कोई बीमारी का जिक्र नज़र नहीं आ रहा कि नेचुरल क्लेमिटी में क्या क्या चीज़ें आ सकती हैं. So when we were young, we heard about there was a plague in Bombay, somewhere in Bombay, with the Great Plague of London सुना है एक ज़माने में, early 19th century and stuff. बहुत पहले कुछ चीज़ें सुनी, तो ये चीज़ें सामने नहीं आई हैं. Developed by somebody, if it's a biological weapon, we don't know about that, but it is a weapon. We are facing it. We have to fight. We have to fight. Yeah. We have to be very cognizant. We have to be very careful about how we move. We need to develop our immunity. We have to go back to our lives with certain SOPs. इसका ये मतलब नहीं है कि आप लुट डाल दें, आप याशियाँ करनी स्टार्ट कर दें. हाँ, मेरा लाइफस्टाइल चेंज हो गया है, मेरा ईटिंग आउट हैबिट जो है वो चेंज हो गया है, और मैं मूविंग फॉरवर्ड शायद आई विल बी रिलक्टेंट गोइंग आउट एंड ईटिंग. आई विल बी रिलक्टेंट इन एक्चुअली गोइंग टू गेट टुगेदर्स एंड स्टफ. आपने ये बड़ा अच्छा सेशन स्टार्ट किए हैं, ऑनलाइन सेशन. सो मैं इस 10 से 11 के दरमियान में आई विल टेक आउट माई टाइम एंड आई गो बैक टू माई वर्क अगेन. So I don't have to drive all the way to a hotel for a cup of tea and a high tea and stuff. So आपकी भी कॉस्ट बच गई, मेरी भी कॉस्ट बच गई, मेरा भी टाइम बच गया. So ये निकाला आप लोगों ने, दुनिया कर रही है सारी चीज़ें. ऑनलाइन ट्रेनिंग्स पे हम आ गए हैं, उसकी कॉस्ट बच गई है, हमारी पोल्यूशन जो है वो कम हो गई है, बेहतर हो गई है सिचुएशन. सो रिस्क मैनेजमेंट हमारी जो है, नाउ वी आर मोर प्रोन टुवर्ड्स रिस्क. वी विल बी मिटिगेटिंग रिस्क, वी विल बी टॉकिंग अबाउट रिस्क. रिस्क के एलिमेंट्स क्या होते हैं, उसको कैसे देखा जाएगा. सो ये हम करेंगे अपनी ऑर्गेनाइजेशन, और कर रहे हैं हर ऑर्गेनाइजेशन में. सो पीपल आर डूइंग इट, एंड आई थिंक हियर आई से द HR कैन बी द ड्राइविंग फैक्टर्स, द ड्राइविंग फोर्स in terms of standing right next to the business and telling business how to run the show, and yet making an impact in the balance sheet of the organization.
True, very true. And while we are, thank you Adil for that comment, and while we are talking about talent management and culture and what HR can do, we have a special guest with us. This person again very experienced, and his exposure again trumps a lot of individuals and a lot of professionals all around the world. He used to be in Siemens, Abacus Consulting, HBL, and right now he is the EVP Talent Management and Culture, PTCL. Let's welcome our special guest, Mr. Amjad Iqbal. Assalamu alaikum, sir.
Walaikum assalam. Thank you very much, Arif, for giving me this space. I know I am late, but smartly you managed me. Adil, assalamu alaikum. Mera assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum assalam.
Good to have you with us.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
So right now I am going to have, और बड़े अच्छे टाइम पे आपने अमजद ज्वाइन किया है, because अभी हम एक नई चीज करने जा रहे हैं, that is called the rapid fire round. ये रैपिड फायर राउंड इजाद तब होता है जब हमारे पास बहुत सारे सवाल होते हैं और टाइम बहुत कम होता है. So I would be pinpointing at one of you, and I would be asking a question, and you would be having 1 minute to answer that. ठीक है? So 1 minute is gracious enough. हमारे पास 7 मिनट रहते हैं हमारे डिस्कशन में, and we have somewhere around 7 questions to answer. And are you ready for the rapid fire round?
Absolutely. Go for it.
Try.
Perfect. Zabardast. Okay, so let's see. The first question I am going to ask is from Amjad, and Amjad, this is your question. ये रहा आपके कंप्यूटर स्क्रीन पे. Annie Fatima is asking, as per WHO, there will be a mental illness pandemic followed by COVID-19. ये हमारी इस पे बात हो गई है. As we know, man is a social animal. और वर्क फ्रॉम होम चल रहा है फिलहाल. सो व्हाट कैन बी डन अपार्ट फ्रॉम ऑनलाइन ट्रेनिंग्स एंड ऑल रिलेटेड टू एम्प्लॉय एंगेजमेंट? सर.
Okay, great. So should I?
Yes, yes, yes.
आपकी सदा भी है ये.
Absolutely. You see, Arif, since I have to conclude in 1 minute's time, so let me zoom into directly. I would look at three aspects. One is your workplace, second is your enterprise, and third is how your work is done in the organizations. So as the HR team, we need to focus on these three things separately, and we need to strategize. For example, if I ask in terms of workplace, so earlier workplace was more of a physical workplace where we were to sign in, make sure that we mark our attendance, make sure that we have a telephone on right and left, make sure that we have a desktop and everything is available. Now, this all is gone. So in a way, from a HR perspective, we need to be clear in terms of strategizing how is going to be our new workspace to manage, to deliver service. Number two, enterprise. We as a HR team, we need to be conscious about the new business model. How are we going to reach out to our customer? Who are going to be our customer now? Because earlier where we had drawn a line that they are not our customer, they might be our prospects, but those prospects now have become our customers because of this digital environment and everything. So from a business perspective, we as a HR team, we need to help organization, line management, business people in redefining their customers, in redefining their outreach model and everything. The third angle, which is even more critical, is how the job is done in the office environment. For example, किस तरह से आप strategic planning करते हैं, how you cascade those goals down the lines through your performance management mechanism and goal setting mechanism. This all is now changed. Now you are no more a strategic workforce type processes are to be considered. You are now more into the work task planning, sort of the exercises that we need to understand, because it is the task that is important. It is the task which has to be delivered going forward. And strategic workforce के लिए time ही नहीं है. आपका overall strategic planning time is squeezed from 3 years, 5 years to hardly a year or a 6 month or 3 months time period. So just to conclude, three angles that you need to consider. One is workplace. You need to strategize. You need to help your organization in revisiting every aspects. You need to be clear in terms of your business enterprise model, outreach models, and you need to be clear in terms of managing the things at the office.
Wow, brilliantly done. Yeah, that's the high level content in under 1 minute. I hope that Amjad has answered your question. Okay, my next question is from Humaira, and Humaira, Danish is asking that is there any conversation going on in your organizations about creating an entrepreneurial environment where people can work creatively to come up with some innovative solutions or / products? Yes.
All the time, Danish. I think it took us a week first, and in which we were trying to understand the situation and see where the government puts our industry. The next week was all about employee safety, and the third week on, it's all about finding new ways to work, taking ownership, finding if you're finding glitches, if you're coming up with new problems, come up with new solutions. This is your organization. We are looking at alliances. We are looking at new ways of from HR perspective, new ways of reaching out. Or we've had a new initiative in the organization, which is actually rewarding people for initiatives in their communities. So we're doing, seeking, and encouraging innovation in the way we work, in the way we serve in terms of HR, in the way we recognize, and in the way we reach out to our farmers. I think that's the most important part. It's the farmers who are doing the tough job of being out there, sowing the fields, harvesting, and making sure that they use the right products to ensure maximum yields. This is where we help them. So our farmers are doing this, our sales fields is doing it, and in the back of it, all our organization is supporting it. So yes, absolutely.
Brilliantly done in 1 minute again. Danish, I hope Humaira has answered your question. Doing, seeking, and implementing intrapreneurial environment for bringing out new products, and then recognizing, as Humaira said, you need to recognize them, appreciate them for the work they have done as well. Perfect. So Adil, I have a question from Usman Siddiqui, and it's a very interesting question. So we are all talking about working from home and all of that because it's the pandemic. But would companies prefer or allow people working from home post-COVID? What are your thoughts based on the current experience?
Working from home is definitely something under question at this point as well. So this is a situation whereby we have to do it, right? We were being compelled to work from home because there is a big trust factor in our employees that they will not work from home in a normal situation. Knowing our people in this country, so multinational organizations में क्या होता है कि उनका the finesse level is actually a bit different as compared to other organizations. So they trust, they respect the environment, and they're loyal to their environment. Other organizations maybe which are not exposed to working from home, it is a long way to go in terms of developing a habit and a culture. So yes, now organizations have realized there has to be mechanism in terms of evaluating them, in terms of monitoring them, in terms of gauging their productivity, that if they're working from home, so what sort of productivity level they wanted to achieve from them. So for me, if you ask me, I will now have to trust my people. I have to engage them. I have to train them, and I have to tell them to look. This is the future of any organization, be it maybe a local organization or a governmental organization or maybe a technological organization or an multinational organization. If it's a matrix organization, that's fine. It's totally okay. Your question that moving forward, it will work definitely, but we have to develop an organization culture by engaging our employees.
Perfect. So I would really like to thank my panel today for being here. And before we end up, and I must say thank you to the audience who have asked मतलब मुझे actually genuinely लगा कि आज सवालात थोड़े difficult और थोड़े से पेचीदा थे. And thank you for the audience who have actually asked this question. मतलब वो इतना गौर से सुन रहे थे that they were able to ask on those lines. But before we leave, I would request, or I would rather ask from our panelists that do you have any concluding remarks, any message, any advice, any suggestion for the employers or the employees regarding the better future or regarding managing job security? Humaira, why don't you go first?
Thank you. Very quickly, I think for employees, make sure that you're learning, taking this time. जो आपका travel में बच रहा है, जो आपका any other time that you have, make sure that you're upskilling or reskilling. And at the same time, make sure that you switch off. I think Adil ने बहुत important point कहा कि हम sometimes late काम कर रहे हैं and so on. So switching off is very, very important. For employers, honestly, at this point, no, I would urge all drastic decisions to be thought through, come up with a new model, look at people, and then and really, it's very possible that you can do newer things with same people, learning new things. So I think these are the two advices that I would like to. Leaders must remember, you are the man or the woman of the time. Your role is very important. Just make sure that you pull up your socks right now and support your team members. That's it.
Perfect. Thank you, Humaira. Adil, any last comments, any concluding thoughts from your end?
Thank you very much. Crisis time is always an opportunity time. Thinking out of the box. अगर एक अल्कोहल मैन्युफैक्चरिंग ऑर्गेनाइजेशन सैनिटाइजर्स बना सकती है तो आप भी अपना दिमाग को दूसरी तरफ लगाएं, सोचें क्या करना होगा. Don't concentrate that you'll end up in losing the job. Try to be as important for the organization as you can, or hope for the best, inshallah.
Inshallah. Wonderful, sweet, and to the point message. Sir, our special guest today, Amjad Saab. Any last concluding remarks? Yes. Any special thoughts from your end, sir?
Yeah, absolutely. Two inputs. One is for purely HR, and that is that please do not tell people what to learn. Please explain them how to learn. That's it. And for the organization and for the leadership, for that matter, we need to create resilience and we need to create agility in our organizations And in parallel, we need to teach us and learn how to do smart collaborations. That is going to be the only criteria for a success. Thank you.
Wow, beautiful, beautiful. Sir, thank you again, my panelists. Thank you again, audience, for helping us out and sharing your thoughts, your ideas, your questions. It was really interesting, intriguing, and insightful to have our panelists talking about managing job security and what's the plan towards the future. Okay, before we leave, because this is the first episode and I really want to make it memorable, I would have a virtual group photo.
Okay.
So just give me a second and जबरदस्त ये हाँ बिल्कुल बेहतरीन and just
शायद हमें कोई मोमेंटो देने लगे हैं आप शायद हमें तो
नहीं वर्चुअल फोटो ही कर लें जी अब उसके लिए भी मिलना पड़ेगा
मोमेंटो भी जो है अब वर्चुअली आएगा सर अब बेफिक्र रहें आप इस पे ओके सो स्माइल एवरीवन जस्ट गिव मी 1 second Perfecto. So we have a memorable virtual group photo on our business series Gear Up episode 1. I would again thank you Humaira, thank you Adil, and thank you Amjad for sparing out time and sharing your knowledge with us and being a part of on the panel of Learning Minds Gear Up business series. Thank you again. Take care everyone. See you tomorrow at 10 a.m. on the topic of now recently graduated, now what? So, and we have a very interesting, very experienced panel as well. So see you tomorrow at 11 a.m. Thank you so much. God bless.
Thank you so much for having us over.
Pleasure.
Salam.